Congressman, thank you for being with us today. Let's first talk about this new ad that's out. We know that it's paid by the League of Conservation Voters, at least the ads that are running in Missouri anyway. They claim that you took nearly $1 million from big oil and energy interests. Is that true?
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I think the interesting thing about those ads is they really don't want to talk about the subject of this national energy tax, a tax on coal-based electricity. About 85% of all the electricity in Missouri comes from coal, and of course I shouldn't be for that. Now they are for that. They're helping Robin Carnahan, the likely Democrat running for the Senate. They've given money to her campaign. That money is limited, but the money you can spend on ads like this are unlimited. So it's an interesting way to kind of get around the campaign finance law. It's an interesting way to try to change the subject. You know, I'm for more American energy of all kinds, and I think that's been a well-known thing. And you know, the wind energy people may want to help because of that. But what I'm really focused on in this bill is not the parts I could support. The parts that are for more wind, more solar. They don't have more nuclear, but I'd be for more nuclear. What I'm opposed to is the disproportionate penalty for Missourians by putting us on a path that is likely to at least double our electricity bills, not only at home, but where we work, and maybe eliminate jobs, as well as make it harder for families to get by.
So you don't know the number that you've taken from big oil and energy?
I don't know. Actually, I do know what Robin Carnahan's taken this year. She's taken over $20,000 from lobbyists who represent oil companies. Now, if that money's bad, I guess that money's bad. She shouldn't have taken it. But over the last 15 years, I may have taken some combination of money from everybody interested in energy, because I've been a big advocate of more American energy of all kinds. I think it's silly, Michelle, for us to continue to be dependent on other countries for our energy. And I don't do that because people help me, but they may very well be helping me because they know what I'm going to do. You know, I've never been shy about saying I'm for more American energy, and I'm going to do everything I can in Congress to see that we get there. So energy companies might be interested in that, but that really, the topic here really should be what I'm willing to vote on and the bill itself. If they were so proud of the bill, let's talk about why this national energy tax cap and trade is a good thing for Missourians, because I don't believe it is.
Okay, so you don't want to compare the $20,000, like you said, with Robin Carnahan, to what they're comparing you to, $1 million.
Over 15 years or something. You know, you have to divide that quickly here on the set.
Well, is it fair? I mean, is it fair to compare those two numbers?
It's, you know, if it's bad to take money from people that represent oil companies or work for oil companies or give to the PACs of oil companies, the political action committees, I guess it's bad for everybody. But I think the real story here is they don't want to talk about what they're for, and in fact they don't even want to talk about what I'm against. What they want to do is try to change the subject and make it look like that a bill that is bad for Missourians somehow is a bill I should be supporting. I don't want to support things that are bad for Missourians. I don't want to support things that are foolish for our economy. And taxing coal-based electricity is a bad deal for everybody who's listening to this program right now.
I see. What about the ad claims that saying no to the bill also meant saying no to 1.9 million jobs? You've kind of addressed that already.
Oh, I think it's just the opposite. You know, these so-called green jobs, I'd be for the things that create the green jobs. Let's have more solar, let's have more wind, let's have more oil shale, let's have more all kinds of energy-related jobs. But what this ad really does is destroy American jobs, because it makes us less competitive in a world economy. Let's go for the best of both worlds. Let's try to continue to be competitive with a resource we have more of than anybody in the world, coal. But let's also try to keep our utility bills at a rate where we can compete with the world. And let's add those jobs, as well as adding jobs for more battery technology, for more wind, for more solar, for all the energy that would be good for America.
Okay. You know, you've talked about coal. We're married to coal. We know Missourians are married to coal. You've said it. But won't there eventually be a shift where we're not? I mean, if 85% of our emissions are coming from coal, and you look at California and 5% of their emissions are coming from coal, won't there eventually be a shift? Because we won't be using that same output, or we won't have that same output in 30 years.
Well,
so why don't
I don't think it's really emissions, but it's just the electricity. Like in California, it's somewhere between 1% and 4% of their electricity comes from coal. So they are impacted much less by a tax on coal-generated electricity than we are, where 84 or 85% of our electricity come from coal. You know, we've got a project here in Springfield to try to see if you can't sequester those emissions, if you can't sequester that CO2 underground. There are a handful of those in the country. Senator Bond and I work to be sure that one of them meets the kind of topography we have in Missouri, the shallow underground topography where you could put that CO2 in the ground. The worst of all worlds would be if we get our electricity prices high and jobs go to countries that care much less than we do about what comes out of the smokestack. You know, China's building a coal generated power plant every week. India's building plants that aren't nearly as thoughtful about the environment as ours are. Let's do things that make common sense for the American people and don't drive jobs that take a lot of energy to countries that are less concerned about the environment than America is.
Okay. You know, we're just kind of getting started with your Senate campaign. So is this going to be the first of the negative ads? I mean, are we going to see this for a whole year?
Well, it couldn't be the first because they started in April. Again, this same group, this League of Conservation Voters that supports about 98% of the candidates they get involved with are Democrats. They started these negative commercials in April. At that time, it was all about call Congressman Blunt and tell him to stop standing in the way of green jobs.
Right, but this one is different because it has you putting oil on a baby. So that's
very bad, very
different.
bad. But you know, it's a way to violate. It's a way to get around the campaign finance laws. You give money to Robin Carnahan, and that's capped. There's only so much money you can give to Robin Carnahan. But apparently, you can spend all the money in the world if you want to on ads like this that are misleading, that are negative, and are a full year before the election. My guess is Missourians get pretty fed up with that pretty quickly. Will
you promise to run a clean campaign? You have in the past, but I'm wondering if you can say that now.
You know, we're going to talk about the differences on issues, and you know, we'll have to be sure that people understand those differences. But I want to focus on the issues. I've been doing that for my whole career in Congress, but certainly in every day of this Senate campaign, I'm out there talking about what I'd like to see happen on health care, on energy, and you know, I'm sponsoring a dozen health care bills, and let's talk about those. Let's talk about why I was opposed to the one that was on the House floor on Saturday. And one of our other groups said, well, he's opposed because he knows somebody in the insurance industry. You know, that's just a silly way to address this debate. If they want to attack me because I'm opposed to the bill, fine. I guess that would mean they'd have to say they were for the bill. It'd be nice to see Robin Carnahan take a position on some issue instead of challenging why I have a position on the issue.
Would you debate her? Oh,
I've been asking for that kind of for debates since February the 20th.
Because we can set up a debate after this interview if you'd like.
I'll be here.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, I know this is far-reaching into the future, but have you thought about what you would do if you didn't win the Senate seat?
No.
Okay. Well, Congressman, thank you very much for being with us today.
Good to see you.